If you don't know now, you do know it's Gunz, the Gun Show, as well as WABC Radio and WABC Sports. We're here in the greatest city in the world, the city that never ever sleeps, above the world's most famous arena. Too bad the basketball team's not doing too well, but that's okay. We're here with my man right here, Michael Rapaport. He's got a brand new book called This Book Has Balls. He's here. Rappy, what's up, baby? How are you, man?
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Glad to be here. Glad to be near the world's most famous arena, and thanks for having me.
First of all, congratulations on everything. It's been a hell of a, in all honesty, man, like, it's been up and down throughout your career, but you've been killing it, like, the last year and a half, last 2 years. Like, Rapaport, no, I mean, it's not, don't call it a comeback, but you've been killing it, my man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having fun, talking sports, talking this, that, and the other, and, it's a good time.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you got so much going on for him. Not only does he have the book, which is available now and we can go pick it up, but we've also got, you got your podcast, Barstool Sports. You're doing a bunch of stuff with them. Fantasy football, you're going after Mike the Miz. You're calling nonstop, right?
Yeah, we're at WABC. Why don't we get two mics for this? Like, there are people know. I'm gonna hold the mic.
All right, you do it, baby. Listen. The man needs. Yeah, he likes taking control, if you would. So it's all good though. Tell me about this book. It's a long time coming though, but there's no holding back. That's why we love you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote a book. It's called This Book Has Balls, Sports Rants from the MVP of Talking Trash. I grew up here in New York. I wanted to be a professional athlete. Didn't happen. Always remained a fan. And, the book talks a little bit about that. Talks about when I came to Madison Square Garden to try to woo Mary Lou Retton because I had fallen in love with her in 1984. It talks a lot about the Knicks and the heartache, the pain, the frustration. I try to evict Phil Jackson from the city of New York. The irony of Charles Oakley, 23 reasons why LeBron will never be like Mike, and why Lawrence Taylor is the greatest football player of all time. It's 49 chapters of hard-hitting trash talk, good, bad, and indifference. It's fun, it's quick hits, and I'm proud of it.
And the thing with you, though, man, is, you bleed not only, for orange and blue for the Knicks, but also New York. Do you think if you had a different upbringing, or could this happen in any other city besides New York? For you personally? For
me, I mean, New York is so much a part of who I am and whatever public persona I have, the way I speak, the way I talk, we talk with our hands. So I have no idea what it would be like if I was from somewhere else, but I know that New York and the culture of New York is me. I should be giving New York 10% of every dollar I make as a performer, an actor, or anything, because it's definitely like who I am.
Were you always this outspoken? Like, were you that asshole in the back of the class when you were growing up? Were you like,
yeah, I mean, I've always been disruptive. I've always been disruptive. I talk a little bit about that in the book. I've gotten kicked out of schools, and yeah, I mean, you could call it asshole, you could call it a class clown. I say it was a class clown on steroids. I was the Lance Armstrong of class clowns, and but. That's just who I am, and fortunately, I've been able to find a way to stay out of trouble, and now with social media and podcasts, and I've sort of embraced all my shit talking abilities, and the book is the culmination of that right now.
And the podcast, especially for, even though it's a different network or whatnot. We love Barstool here. I'm a huge Barstool Sports fan, but they've really given you even been able to launch that platform even that much more for you, because now you have the Stoolies behind you. You've been doing the podcast for a while, broke a lot of news the last couple of years on it, but now this Barstool's been giving you that much even more of a platform to express yourself and speak your mind.
Yeah, I mean, I love Barstool. I love what they stand for. I love what they're doing. And, in this age of new media, sports and journalism and, and Instagram stars and YouTube stars, it's a really good place for me, and I'm happy to be there.
Could you have done what you're doing right now if you didn't have like the acting background or anything like that? Did that prep you to get this recognition at least?
I mean, that's a good question. I think, who's to say? I obviously, like this whole sort of, Michael Rapaport, just me being me thing. I wouldn't. It just happened. It wasn't something I planned. It wasn't like I'm going to work as an actor for 25 years and then I'm going to start talking shit. It just happened organically. I've always been opinionated. I've always had things to say. And then, it was really the podcast. I just sort of like shared it with the world. It's not like, it's not like a fake. It's not like when I'm not on here. I'm like, I'm like a soft-spoken guy. I mean, this is who I am. And it's just these forums, and I just sort of jumped into it, and I love doing it. Obviously, I'm always going to be an actor first. That's like my first love. I'm never going to stop acting. But, sports and sort of just general commentary is definitely something that I'm interested in. And, live, the live aspect of anything to me gives you that extra juice.
What kind of it doesn't upset me, it actually pisses me off, is the fact that sometimes people, especially on social media, everyone can be a critic and troll and Twitter and the whole thing, and they'll be like, they don't realize like how much work and effort you've actually put in, that this isn't just a fad or anything like that. Like, hello, it's Rapaport. Like, you can go back and like, you've been busting your ass for years though, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? People come at you like, you talk about in your podcast, screw these bozos, straight up, man.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has an opinion, including me. So, if you're gonna talk shit, you got to be able to take it out. You got to be able to take it, and if you're going to give it, you got to be able to receive it. And I'm definitely cool with both. As far as like the trolls, which is such a funny term, but as far as people talk shit, as long as I could just like get a picture of them, like if I could just see who they are, it's like the ones I have trouble with are the faceless ones with the when the avatars, when they have like a picture of like Bart Simpson, like let me just see a picture of you, your mom, your dog, your girlfriend, your kid. I don't care what it is, but like those are the ones, because then I could just go right back at them. But when it's like I'm talking to the air, it frustrates me. And it's also like because people we're in such a crazy time. One of the things about like social media is like, you hear some of the worst things on social media, and it's not about me. You can't say anything about me that I've never heard. Like the racial shit is the thing that bugs me out. Like the racial thing is the thing I'm like, damn. That's the shit that's most surprising to me. Just that people are comfortable talking like that in a public forum. That bugs me out.
But then you'll have young page views or somebody come back and call out all those old tweets that you know what I mean. And lately it's been happening more so now than ever. So,
right. Yeah, I mean it's a crazy time. The ESPN Barstool situation was like a sort of a mainstream sports story because of the way it happened and all that stuff, and everybody is going to move forward from it.
We'll be all right. The especially with this book, it seems like a lot of things in life have to do with timing, but right now this all kind of culminated and worked out perfectly for you, man.
It did. It's funny. When I was writing the book, I started to see these things on news, like regular news, CNBC, CNN, Fox, just about trash talk. And I think it's Trump, because we have a president who likes to talk shit, which is shocking and hopefully a one-and-done situation. And so this, you'd see like trash talk trending on Twitter, and I'm like, and I'm trying to come up with the title for the book, and I wanted to call it, sports rants from the MVP of talking shit, but I'm trying to also sell books. Right. But it's funny that's sort of it's a hashtag. Like,
and your editor are very happy with you, by the way, for changing the name of the book.
So, but I mean, it's good, and when we grew up, we called it snapping. Like you snapping, like your close of this here, this like that, and then they call it trash talk or talking shit, whatever you call it. I mean, it is what it is. It's fun, and the book, the really essence of the book is I'm a fan first. I know what I know. I know what I don't know. And the first person who gets the most trash talked about him is myself. I make fun of myself because, like I said, if you're going to be a connoisseur of talking shit, you have to be able to take it. You can't just give it.
Did you ever think that, do you ever regret or think that, shit, man, wow, look what I've gotten myself into now? Or is it just like, you've been able to back it up throughout the years?
No, I like it. I love it. I love it. And like, listen, sometimes I feel like I could probably come across mean-spirited and all that stuff, but it is what it is. It's, it's sort of in a weird way. Social media is almost like if sometimes, I don't want to get highfalutin about it, but the whole thing about podcasting and live stuff, if you look at it, it's in a way it's performance art, and there's garbage on the internet. But some of these weird things that like pop, reality shows, even Cardi B, the rapper, like she came from a reality show. She's the biggest rapper out right now. It's an interesting time. There's the Cardi B's, and then there's the garbage, and there's everything in between, and there's the funny guy who used to make the Vines, who's on his TV show. So it's an interesting time, and I try to treat it as much as I can at times like some sort of, even if it's low-end performance art.
And it's it seems like everything these days is you always have to be performing out there. You know what I mean? And you can follow him on Twitter. Michael Rapaport here. I am Rapaport is the Twitter, and the book's called "This Book Has Balls." You mentioned that you touch on real sports subjects in the book. You mentioned why MJ's better than Bron is. But do you think? What about Kobe and Bron? What do you think about that argument?
I mean, Kobe Bryant has 5 rings. Kobe Bryant is Kobe. It's a tough argument, but you're not going to just skip over Kobe Bryant. It's hard to say because it's so subjective. Who's better? Who did what? Who makes their teammates better? Who played with MJ is the best. MJ is the best. And listen, I grew up a Knicks fan. I hated MJ. I didn't want to be like Mike. I wanted to kick Mike's ass. I wanted to bury Mike. But he's the best, and his career is the best, and the way he did it was the best. But there's other guys. Magic was incredible. His career was cut short. Larry was incredible.
Let me ask you this: being a Knicks fan, I was a Knicks fan as well. Reggie, hated Reggie. Have you ever spoken to Reggie?
Hated Reggie Miller. I talk about meeting Reggie Miller after he retired because I used to heckle him. I wasn't Spike Lee, but I was at some games and
hated him. Come on, man.
I fucking hated Reggie Miller, and I met him. I talk about it in the book. I met him at a restaurant after he retired, and he approached me. And it wasn't like he was beefing me. He was like, "Yo, you ready to stop talking shit?" And I was like, "Yeah, man." I said, "Yo, I fucking hated you." I said, "But as much as I hated you, I respected you." And he was like, "Cool." And we've always been cool. But like the thing about talking shit, you don't talk shit about any lames. There's no chapters in my book about the Utah Jazz. You know what I mean? You talk about great people. So Reggie Miller, the hate that the fans gave him across the country, that made him a Hall of Famer. Without that hate and without that agitation that he gave and he received, it pushed him to greatness, and he'll be the first to admit it. So that's the essence of the book, and I appreciate being here, sharing this mic.
Damn right. Yeah, we're good at it. What can I say?
Bring my own mic next time.
Does A-Rod make the Hall of Fame?
I'm not a real baseball guy, but there's so many steroid baseball players. I'll tell you this. I have a chapter in the book about stickmen and the great stickman of all time, the great coxman of all time, and I made an executive decision for the dishonorable discharge. A-Rod does not make my stickman Hall of Fame because of the performance-enhancing drugs. Because I said if he was doing it on the field, he's probably doing it off the field. So I can't really I don't have a hot take on whether he makes the Hall of Fame or not because I think there's so many of them, and I think they're going to all get in. What do you think?
I hope not. As a Yank fan, I hope he doesn't get in. You know what I mean? Kind of tarnish. But if you go after him,
there's Sosa, there's tons of them. Yeah. There's just Mark McGwire and Barry Bonds. I don't know. It's just going to be the steroid era. Because they're not going to keep them all out. Right. The fact that
Lemons, you know what I mean?
There's just tons of them. There's tons of them. So we'll see.
The rapid fire questions: Jay-Z or Nas?
Man, that's a tough question.
How are you? How you doing, baby? Coming at you hot.
I'm gonna say, man, that's tough. I'm gonna say Nas today, but that's a tough question. Jay-Z or Nas is tough because they're both. Those are my 1 and 2.
Right. Tupac, Biggie.
Shit, man.
You played "Hit 'Em Up" the other day. I was listening because you were going after ESPN. "Hit 'Em Up," one of the best songs. Come on now.
I'm gonna go with Tupac.
All right. Finish rapid fire reactions and thoughts. Trump.
He's a piece. He's the worst New Yorker ever, and the fact that he's a New Yorker representing the world, it's an embarrassment. He's a fucking 3-card money pimp, hustler, pimp, con man.
Carmelo Anthony. Do we miss him?
You know what? I don't miss him. I'm glad for him. I'm happy he left. Whatever his downfalls or shortcomings as a player are. He didn't deserve to be treated like that. He played, he did his thing here, and I'm happy for him. No player deserves to be treated like that, especially the star player who, whatever. He's not D-Wade, he's not LeBron, but he was our guy, and to be made into to be treated like that is unacceptable.
The last 3 years speaking, who did you hate more, Phil Jackson or Dolan?
The last 3 years.
2 years. No,
Dolan.
Yeah, Dolan.
I didn't hate Phil until the end. I honestly, and I don't hate Phil. Phil
Screwed everything up.
really bad. You know, the taunting of Porzingis, the taunting of Carmelo, not cool at all. But the common theme that hasn't left is Dolan.
Dave Portnoy.
Good dude, smart businessman, and Barstool Sports. He's a sharp guy. He. The thing I like about Dave is that he'll play the fool, but you know it takes a genius to play the fool, and he's of all the other like stuff and persona, he's a smart business guy.
And ESPN executives, will they ever learn?
I don't know, man. I don't know. The ESPN executives.
This PC world these days killing us.
The funny thing about ESPN is they're making all these on-air cuts. They should make a complete in-house moves of the behind-the-scenes people, because the shows on air that aren't working are put on the air by the executives. Get rid of them. Get some new blood, new energy, and new mindset from them. The on-air talent, there's nothing wrong with them.
It is. Well, spoken from the man himself, Michael Rapaport. You can, of course, I am Rapaport, the podcast, everything. We got one mic. We're sharing it.
See, we got one mic here, man.
Right, everybody.
We couldn't get two mics here?
It's budget cuts, right?
Lucky you got one.
I should have brought my own mic.
Budget cuts. My man, check out the podcast, Rapaport.